Hey you guys, in this episode we've got a couple of corrections we got to work through. Welcome to Urban Monk TV. So the first correction I need to make is in regards to this nut on the front sprocket here when I did the chain and sprocket install video a few episodes back. I would have liked to have done this correction sooner. I'm doing it as soon as I possibly can. So a gentleman named Jay Sturgis on YouTube commented and said that the nut that retains that on should be recessed back here and thus press against this washer and hold that sprocket on tight. If you watched that video, you see that I was intuitively thinking that that being loose didn't make sense. I did check with my good friend Rodney, and he was saying that, well, the sprocket on his Ducati is a little bit loose. And so, you know, going with I have a nut, checking the parts diagram that shows a nut and that washer, I just didn't know if it was the right thing or not. But Jay Sturgis said, no, it should be snug. And so what I did was ordered up the nut. And it took a very long time to get here. I'll comment on that in a second. But indeed, this nut is different. If you look at this thing closely, it is very much, well, one, it's larger and it is recessed so that when it goes on, it definitely gets snug up against the sprocket, tightens everything up. I have to torque this, obviously. But then that washer has a lip that you are supposed to get a screwdriver behind and hammer it out a little bit to hold it flat. So that's how the system is supposed to work, and that wasn't clear when I had someone else's previous owner's parts, and the parts diagram just really didn't call that out. So a big thanks to Jay Sturgis for letting us all know how that's supposed to go. I'll get this torqued and we will bend this and be done here. The other piece is, why did it take so long for me to do the correction video on this? I ordered this nut from SuzukiPartsHouse.com, which is one of the brands, one of the websites managed by Babbitt's Online. And I got a confirmation that my order went through, but it wasn't arriving. And after about 10 days, I called them and said, just checking on the status of my order. And they said, oh yeah, this one slipped through the cracks. And it didn't get ordered, so they didn't even have it in stock. They're ordering it from somewhere else. And I said, well, okay, you know, can we expedite shipping on it? I've been waiting a while. And they said, no, they're not going to expedite the shipping. And so today is the 18th of April. Of May. I ordered this on April 14th. And ultimately, it arrived on May 16th, I think. 16th or 17th. I think it was the 16th. So anyways, it took a long time to get to me. But there was a point at which one of the employees at Babbitt's or Suzuki Parts House, they had the option to, you know, do expedited shipping. And they didn't do it. So in their defense, this is a pretty cheap part. There wasn't a lot of revenue involved with this order, and I ran a small business, and I would have gotten that thing there overnighted for my customer. That's all. The other comment comes on YouTube from Theo Botha or Bota. I'm sorry if I'm getting your last name pronounced incorrectly. And he said, you know, on this return linkage, on the rear brake lever, there's a pretty hefty spring there that you seem to be missing. He had it on his bike, and sure enough, somehow it got in a different box when I was disassembling everything, and those parts weren't all together. And I went looking for it and looked at the parts diagram, and there it was, and found the spring. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. This thing lives under here, around this shaft, right behind. So that spring is supposed to live right back here on that shaft, hook under here, and then of course go up underneath the brake pedal. So let's get it put on. So I'm thinking the way to put this on, I need to hold this in place, is like this. Oop. Not that way. Okay. Like that. Let me show you a close-up. So that's how that spring should be positioned in there. And then of course I got to put the retaining bolt in there. Okay, and then adjust this up again, just to there. I've just adjusted this so that it doesn't bottom out on the bottom of my foot peg. That has a lot better return now. So that's it, you guys, just those two corrections. Thank you for keeping an eye out for the little things. You know, we're really building this thing as a community, aren't we? It's pretty difficult with the number of parts there are, and then these bikes are 40 years old. This one is anyways. 41 now. Previous owners, parts get swapped out, and it's hard to keep track of it all sometimes. So it takes a village. Hey, if you like what I'm doing, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.